Well, hello there everyone and welcome to a new video over here on Anton's Hardware channel. Now, today isn't going to be a review. No, we're going to talk about sound cards and, well, everything related to it, because it's question time. I have been getting so many questions lately that it deserves its own video, and well, here it is. It's my question time video. And let's kick off with the first question. The first question is by Phobos X. He says, Merry Christmas for everybody and a Happy New Year. I have an Intel 10700K on an ASRock Z490 Extreme 4 motherboard and an Asus Xoner DX 7.1 sound card. I want to upgrade, but what sound card should I buy? Well, that's a really good question, and I think it's the most asked question. I get a lot of people asking me, I have this motherboard, I have this system, what sound card should I buy? Well, my first answer to that question is, as always, what budget do you have? If you have a budget for, say, €50 or $60, go for the Asus Xoner AE, a great and solid budget card with excellent components and even a swappable op amp. Great card, great price. But I also looked up the specifications of your system on the ASRock website, and it says that it has a Realtek ALC 1200 audio codec, but it's a really nice codec. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, the signal to noise ratio for 110 decibels is not the best I've seen, but in all, it is a decent performer, especially for onboard solutions, so maybe you should give that a go. Now the second question is by Kalanchu1. Well, unfortunately, the Xoner SE was the cheapest card I could get that wasn't 8 years old for the price point. I had to replace my B460 Pro for onboard audio because it died and I didn't want to spend too much money. Personally, the SE got rid of all the electromagnetic interference and generally sounds more defined on my Audio Technicas than my onboard solution. Now, it's good to hear that the SE worked out for you. I didn't like the card, but if you're on a serious budget, it may be an option, and also to get rid of those EMI. Thank you for letting me know. Third question is by Marco Jurgensen. Is this Creative Soundblaster Z PCI Express intern? And is it a good version? I think that you mean internal. Yes, it's an internal card and it is PCI Express. Now, I have heard that Creative is about to launch a newer version of this card, but the only difference is that the second edition, as they're going to call it, has some minor software tweaks. Creative will ask the full price again for this sound card. Now, it seems as though they have a warehouse full of these sound cards. I can't really recommend this one because, well, it's exactly the same card as this one. If you can find this one secondhand, get it. It's a really good card, but it's nowhere near worth the full price. Andy Christians asked me, where does the Creative Soundblaster X5 Titanium Fatality Professional stand in your opinion? Is it still any good these days, or better go for the Creative Soundblaster ZX or for the new Creative Soundblaster X AE5 Plus? Now, there's a lot of questions asking you there, but I've just bought a X5 Titanium Fatality whatever in January, and I'm planning on creating a video about it. Well, in the near future. I've already done some work on it, but I don't know when it's going to be released. Now, if I had to choose between the ZX or the AE5 Plus, I'd go for the AE5 Plus. It's a newer card, and also the support for Dolby and DTS is better than with the ZX. The ZX is absolutely a very capable card, but it is getting a bit old and the driver support isn't that good for older Creative cards. Question number 5 isn't so much of a question, it's more of a statement, and I thought that it was really cool and I wanted to share this with you. Gaming Life HD, the main channel, says Konami's Beatbox IIDX uses the sound card RN. I'm not really sure what the RN means, but I think it's slang for something. But I didn't know what the Beatmania IIDX was, but I found something on Wikipedia that I'm going to show you, and I think it's a nice cool thing. I really didn't know it. But I looked up the page on Wikipedia itself, and it says that it's the Asus Xonar XE. But I've never heard of this card. I mean, I've heard of the Xens, the AE, the X, all the Ds, and all the other, but never the XE. But if you can find one, I would really want to have one. Question number 6 is from Bezura de Menenses Spears Society UK, and he asks, "Hi, thanks for the video. I was wondering to purchase a sound card and decided to buy the Creative Soundblaster Z. You are right, it's such an amazing card. Easy to install and the sound, wow, what a difference from the Realtek. Thanks." Now, you are very welcome, and I get a lot of requests of people leaving a link in the description to Amazon. Now, I've been trying to set up the Amazon associates so I could at least get a bit of money back from Amazon, because I have so many people getting sound cards from them, but it's such a hassle to get it working because you have to set it up for every country and every region. And I do not have the time to invest in that. I'd rather make the videos, but Bezera de Menenses Spirit Society UK, thank you. Question number 7 is by MotoFreak. He said, well, last month during the Christmas week sale in December of 2020, the EVGA store had these cards for $120 US. It's worth it at the price, but not 300. Just go back and check often. Great sound card and awesome quality with my DT770 Pro headphones. Cheers. Now that's a great tip. Besides the Christmas sale, you also have the B stock, which are returned items which are being resold again, but at a lower price. Now these things have been checked and rechecked, and you get the warranty and everything else. It's a great option. Question number 8 comes from Chaotic Silence. I still don't understand why Creative Labs refuses to put front panel outputs on most of their cards. That's the only reason why I haven't bought anything from Creative Labs. Creative these days do put their front panel connectors in the correct way, but there was a time ago, years ago, when Creative wanted you to buy the cable from them so they could get more money, as it was way overpriced, those cables. You could do it yourself with some, well, home electronics, but of course you needed to know the exact layout for your card, as in every card the pins swap places. These days, the front panel connector is standard on nearly all Creative cards, and it will still work in all PC cases. Question number 9 is by Shellax, and he said, isn't 24 bits 192 kHz already out of spec for SPDIF? I didn't think it could handle the bandwidth required for anything above that. Well, I understand your question, and I was wondering about that too, but the maximum number of bits in standard SPDIF is 20 bits, not even 24. 4 extra can be added, but not all equipment may be able to use it, especially older stuff. There's also the discussion about whether people can hear the difference between 24 or 32 bits and 192 kHz and 384 kHz. It's really difficult, and in blind tests aren't always as conclusive. In my humble opinion, 24 bits and 192 kHz is enough for nearly all people, including myself. 32 bits is cool, and I will use it just because I can. Question number 10 by Font4C. Now, he's a regular viewer and he always leaves comments, and he always writes them in Spanish, so I have to go through Google Translate just to see what he asks me. But this time I'm not going to say it in Spanish because my Spanish is horrible, but I love your videos. Which one do you recommend value for money? I currently have the Asus Xonar DX. Greetings from Argentina. Well, Font4C, what is your budget again? The DX is getting rather old, but it is still a nice card. I'd go for the Asus Xonar AE, as I said in the earlier comments. Or maybe for the Soundblaster Z, and greetings from the Netherlands. Question number 11 is by Ansterius, and he says, I don't want to get a sound card for my Razer Kraken headphones and found this one and wondering, and is it worth getting if I want to get better sound? My PC motherboard is cheap and and my sound quality there is terrible. Now I think he says I do want to get a sound card and don't want to get a sound card. But sadly, I just cannot recommend the G1. It's hardly any improvement over your onboard solution. Maybe if you're on a really tight budget, you could get one. But in my opinion, the thing is just horrible. Get it from Amazon and send it back if you're not satisfied. But I don't think it's any improvement. Now, I have some viewers who think that the thing is excellent, great, best thing ever. But it just couldn't satisfy me in any way, shape or form. Now for the 12th and last question, which is by Nicholas Morrill, and he says, so how good is it when it's up against real hi-fi competition like the Audiolab MDAC? I have bought the Creative Soundblaster X AE5 secondhand, very wise of you, because I doubt very much that it can compete with it. It's not much of a competition. I mean, if you do a speed test between a Ferrari and a really good regular car, like a Volvo or a BMW, the Ferrari will always win because it's, well, a lot more expensive. I mean, the Audiolab MDAC is in the range of 500 to 700 pounds. Which means that it's, well, 4 to 5 times as expensive as an AE5. Also, the components used are way better. There are some downsides. First of all, the MDAC is getting rather old. I mean, if you're just using the optical and USB inputs, it supports 24 bits and 96 kilohertz. And if you look at the AE5, it's 32 bits and 384 kilohertz. So the resolution of the AE5 is way better. Also, the AE5 gives you the ability to use a microphone and inputs, something that the MDAC does not have. So that's it for me for today. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. I do hope you enjoyed this video. The next one is already being well produced, created. The team is just me. It's about that one there in the back. Another X5 card. Small spoiler. That's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd like to see you in the next one. See you then. Bye bye.